in the India Today studio, we're recreating that Kremlin hall where India Today's Geeta Mohan and Anjana Kashyap spoke to President Putin. Both of them are with me on this special broadcast. That's our top focus story. So on India First, I want to begin this conversation with two superb journalists, two of India Today and Aaj Tak's finest, and what a scoop, Geeta and Anjana, spectacular. Truly, truly spectacular. Anyone would, give an arm and a leg for what, and more for this scoop. But let's dive straight into this. What was that experience like, Geeta and then Anjana? What was this experience like? This Ekaterina Catherine Hall. So yeah, tell me, what was it like?
So it's called Ekaterina Hall, and I'll start with with where we are standing right now, Gaurav, because when we went for the recce and we were looking at all these places, you see on the left-hand side where the curtains are, is exactly where a carpet is laid and a table and chairs are put, and that's where most of the interviews happen, including Tucker Carlson's interview. That was where it happens. And then our team went in, and our group managing editor, production, Sawant, was leading the entire production of this interview. So he went there and he saw the statue, and he went up to the assistant press secretary, and he said, "Can we get this?" And he was talking to me, and we said, they want this, they want that statue as the backdrop. Lo and behold, it symbolizes a lot.
Yes.
It's a female warrior symbolizing Russia, two women journalists interviewing Putin. It just fell in place in terms of symbolism. But we didn't know it then. He just wanted the statue. And so then he pushed for it, and we got it. They were professional. They agreed to things. They said, it's your interview. And then later he said, this is the first interview that's not taking place where it normally does. This is the first time this statue is the backdrop of an interview.
Anjana, what was that experience like for you to be at Kremlin, to interview President Putin? And you knew every word that he'd say, the whole world was watching.
Absolutely, and that is how we opened the entire interview, talking about two old friends who were meeting, and probably they would share a lot of warmth and everybody would be, uncomfortable about it. But the best thing was that we were interviewing him before his India visit. So Gaurav, this experience is actually unmatched. It's like, I'm still, trying to relive a lot of those moments, because every time we would reach a historic place, I would tell those guys who were escorting us around, let me soak this in, let me soak this in, let me take this in. You're in Kremlin. And the point is that what we need to understand, Gaurav, is that a lot of mystery and enigma has been built around Vladimir Putin.
Oh, absolutely.
He has been portrayed by the Western media like a bloodthirsty czar kind of a person who wants to build his empire again. See, the Russia-Ukraine war has to be seen in perspective. Prime Minister Narendra Modi sat next to him and said, we are not neutral, we want peace. So India's stand is absolutely clear on that, and that is what all of us think. But I do feel that, he's been portrayed in a certain way that Kremlin is something that nobody can pierce through, nobody can go inside.
Behind the Iron Curtain.
No, we were told we could shoot inside.
We
were told, Geeta, that we could shoot inside. So they were okay with it. Like, there were some parts like where his house was, because that's super high security. Otherwise, important parts where there were many...
In fact, the second time when we were there, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, they were holding a meeting with Putin a few rooms away.
We were right there. And everything was just happening in front of our eyes. The three best important takeaways for me from this interview. Number one, Kremlin has always been portrayed as this massive iron curtain that you talked about, everything hidden, nothing comes out, no cameras allowed. That entire, you can say, that image absolutely broke. Absolutely broke.
It's like KGB agents everywhere.
I was walking in every day, 3 days.
Maybe they're there, but at least they were not stifling us.
Okay.
3 days.
Yeah.
Like continuously. And then at the end of it, I told those guys that, I mean, you can give us a place to live here now, till you don't give us the interview. So it was that nice. His team was so perfect, immaculate with all their arrangements, there would be a person waiting for us outside London Library and this entire Kremlin place. They would escort us in a car, get all our cars checked and our passports checked, equipment checked. And even the RT-PCRs or all the tests that were done, because we were sitting in very close vicinity with the president, everything was done, everything was arranged by them. They were very forthcoming, and they were also looking forward to this interview, which makes me come to the point that Russia also values, and in these times, they also need India. If and if he openly said that I want to bring an import-expo there and try and tell my people what they can buy from India, so he was actually trying to hit certain notes. That, you need jobs,
that interview
you
with
need
India
business,
today,
you need jobs, we're here.
And at least with India Today, he knew there was no agenda that was being peddled. There were no half-truths or absolute lies like the West.
Gaurav, he was so relaxed.
Also a no-holds-barred interview.
No holds barred.
We
they
were
didn't
not
ask you
told,
for questions.
No.
They didn't.
They asked us for broad areas because the president has to be prepared. In fact, after his meetings got over, Gaurav, we were told that all his engagements are over, and now he's going to just get briefed and prepare himself ahead of the interview. And that was about 3 hours from when the interview actually started. That's how prepared he came. Without the questions, just the fact that we gave them broad areas. When we were discussing, we said, okay, do you want specific areas? They said, no, we do not want, we just want, we don't want specifics. You can ask him whatever you want to. We just want areas so that he knows what you want to talk about. And within that realm, he'll answer whatever. So it was a no-holds-barred interview, truly so.
And the translation, because your questions were in English and in Hindi, real time.
Real time.
That was a first for us.
Fantastic.
It was a first for me. It was very, very easy. It was, but you had to concentrate a lot. You had to, because there were times
because you picked up our questions from his answers.
When we are like that, like somebody's saying something and we have 10 questions in our mind. So when he said Witkoff, I was talking to Witkoff in the other room. I said, you weren't talking just to Witkoff, there were 2 of them. Mr. Jared Kushner as well. So he says, 2 versus 1. So, and somehow that symphony fell in place.
Because we said, and again, if we talk about takeaways, sense of humor. I asked him about his meeting with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, and I said, I'd love to be a fly on the wall, given that that's my beat. He said, oh, well, you wouldn't have wanted to. It was rather boring. 5 hours, I was bored.
Imagine for a president to say that. I mean,
but that's the closest he ever got to saying something which could land him in a problem with US. Otherwise, he was very careful. He was very careful, is my reading.
But, and he's supremely confident. He knows what he wants to say, Anjana. He wants to, what he wants to convey. And he has an end game in mind.
Three points which will convince you about this. When I asked him about that energy thing, he was very clear. He said, US is buying nuclear energy from us. And they want to tell you not to buy oil.
About hypocrisy, oil.
Second, I don't want to go to G8. We've looked at each other like, you don't want to enter G8?
Because
said no.
Those were the reports. See, everything is about reports, and we were debunking those reports, which is why international media, including CNN, said there's a lot to learn from the India Today interview. Because you keep putting these, articles out about how Putin is pushing for G8, and when I asked him, he said no.
He said no, I don't want to. And the third thing that I was talking about, so these 2 points where his sense of clarity on issues was very clear. The other was USSR. When we categorically asked him, she asked him about reintegration.
No, she asked him about disintegration, and he had a perfect answer for that. And then I said, what about reintegration? Because that also media keeps citing, and a lot of European countries say, oh, we are next. If it's Ukraine, we are next. He said, I have no such interest because it will change how the composition of Russia culturally and religiously.